Hello, and welcome to the Student Experience podcast, where we will be chatting to members of the University of Suffolk community, giving them the opportunity to share their experience with us. I'm Sam, and I'm a member of the Student Experience and Engagement team, and in today's episode, we chat to Amy Carpenter, who is part of the Careers, Employability and Enterprise team. She is also a graduate of the university. We discussed her role at the university and how students can engage with the careers team. We also take a trip down memory lane and chat to Amy about her time as a student at the University of Suffolk. So, Amy, would you like to introduce yourself and your role at the university?
Hi, my name's Amy, and I'm Head of Careers, Employability and Enterprise at the University of Suffolk.
Lovely. So, how can students engage the Enterprise and Careers team?
So there's lots of different ways you can find us. If you're on campus in Ipswich, you can pop into the Enterprise and Career Zone. That is based in the library building, just on the ground floor. So we're right in the same place as the library and as the Students' Union as well, in the Students' Union shop. So we're easily found. We have a big online presence as well. So we've got a system called Handshake that you can book an appointment on. We've got another one called Future Me, where you can get instant CV feedback. And you can contact us through either of those platforms. We've got an email address as well. Or you might come and find us, actually, you might find us through a class as well. My team will often pop up in sessions, either delivering a whole session or pop up to promote something that's on. And we're also on social media as well. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you can find us and give us a follow as well.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So what sort of opportunities do you provide to the students?
So kind of hopefully everything you could think of, we offer in one way or another. So if you are first year, you're looking for a part-time job or volunteering, you're wondering what can you do to make the most of university, we can help you with all of that. If you're thinking about what you're going to do with your summer, whether it's perhaps something abroad, something in the UK, an internship, if you're thinking about a placement year between your second and final year, if you think actually I'd like to go and do a year, maybe it's a study abroad, maybe it's an internship, maybe it's 50-50, a bit of a study abroad and an internship here or somewhere outside the UK. Obviously, when you go to becoming a graduate as well, you'll be thinking about at some point during your degree, what are you going to do after you've completed? So you can come and talk to us at any point over the duration of your degree to get you ready for going to get that graduate job or further study. We do loads of events all related to that as well that you can engage with. We have loads of different employer events, careers fairs, webinars. We've got a job board online as well, so you can log in and have a look at that any time of day, as long as you've got internet connection, and see what opportunities we've got on offer. And the other side, we've also got loads of support if you want to start a business, or you want to be a freelancer, or you've got a business or you're already a freelancer and you're thinking, how do I expand that? How do I make it bigger? Yeah. How do I make it my full-time job perhaps? Or you've just got an idea and you're thinking, I think I might have something here, but I don't know where to start. And it might be completely different to what you do. You might be perhaps a nursing student, but you can see you've got an idea that's involved with, I don't know, some way to feed dogs more efficiently, like an automatic dog feeder or something, I don't know. Most random thing I could think of. But so we've also got experts here who can help you with all of that stuff as well. So regardless of whether you're thinking about jobs, further study, making a job for yourself and being self-employed, or a bit of all of it, we're here to help with. And you can access our support for life. Cool. So you really don't just have to, come talk to us and then you graduate and then that's it. We're here obviously once you've graduated and for as long as you want us to help as well.
That's really good. Lovely. I actually went to one of your events last week, which was the networking event for freelancers. That was really lovely to meet so many people who were so interested in starting, work on the side. And I certainly can see that a lot of people are going to come back as well. So that's really good. Lovely environment.
Good. Yeah, and there's a real growing community on the freelance startup side. I think a lot of students perhaps. More and more students are thinking about it as an option, and everybody's got side hustles, whether they just sell stuff on, I don't know, a platform like Vinted or other platforms available. But, and it's just making sure students know that they don't just come to see us to go and get a job. It actually, all of that as well, they can get help with.
And like you say, same with like CV, advice, LinkedIn, advice, that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, we can give you as much help as you want with CVs, applications, cover letters, getting your LinkedIn profile right, how to network, how to approach organisations speculatively, for example, how to prep for an assessment centre, whatever the organisation wants to put you through as well as part of the interview, whether it's like online tests, psychometric tests, or video interviews, or we can help with all of that.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's great. And then, so for students, staff, maybe other people that are listening, if they've got companies that they think maybe they could link with the university, I know I put university in touch with a company, and that's something that you'd definitely be open to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the lessons we always want to teach students and really encourage students to embrace is networks are so important, and who you never know where that might take you. And a random conversation, or you might meet someone and then 5 years later you suddenly work with them again and think, actually, you have a positive relationship or not with them, or people progress in their careers. And so we very much embrace that as a team as well. So
absolutely,
any students who've got a connection, connect them back to us, or particularly graduates, go and work in an organisation and then they know they've got jobs that they want to promote back to University of Suffolk students, or opportunities, or if they've started a business and they want to come back and be a mentor or something for those people as well. So absolutely, anybody, anything, contact my team and we'll see if we can make it work into something exciting.
Perfect. My first job that I got actually straight after university was because of your team. So I can certainly vouch for all the work that you guys do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
good.
I mean, everywhere we go, and we see you seem so happy. Mm-hmm. So you seem like you really do enjoy what you do. So what sort of made you apply for this role in the first place?
So I am a graduate of the university. So when it was the University Campus Suffolk many years ago, and before I joined and did my degree, I was in my early 20s, but was technically a mature student. So I'd had time out. I'd worked in industry, in retail management, etc. And during my degree, I worked in insurance, in apprenticeship and school leaver recruitment and internships. So I was involved in a large insurance company in Ipswich, actually recruiting some of our students into jobs, and local school leavers when they were 18 onto apprenticeship programs. So, and I found a real passion for it. I wouldn't have got that job if it hadn't been for my degree, doing an internship, my lecturer saying, Amy, go do that internship. Anyway, so I discovered I wanted to help people, as cheesy as it sounds. That was one thing I loved about working in retail, was helping people solve their problems, find the right product. And and a job came up many years ago working in the careers team as in a similar role as I was working in insurance, but on the other way around. So it was actually working in the university and helping employers to create opportunities and then getting our students to apply. So many years later, I've worked here for a few years, progressed up in different roles, did my postgraduate, so I qualified fully as a careers practitioner, left, worked elsewhere, and this job came up in 2021 and I still lived in Ipswich and was like, this is a perfect career opportunity for me to lead the team.
Exactly.
And career progression. So I went for it, had no idea whether I would get it. And some interviews later, here I am 2.5 years on into the role. So but I'd always, I'd left Suffolk for career progression ultimately, and I worked at the University of Essex for a time, and it was for me to develop my career ultimately. Exactly. And so here we are.
It's going well, full circle.
We've all found that. So we're all graduates of uni. We all went away for a bit, and we've all come back. So.
And I think it's so important. One thing I'd always say to students as well, and I think people do this less nowadays, but don't feel like you want to work just in one organisation, or you will work in one organisation forever, or in one role. Like, if we've got family members, parents, older siblings, depending on our own ages, I can think of my dad had a really traditional career and worked his way up in an organisation, whereas nowadays career paths are so different. You'll go left, right, up, down. You sort of go over, up it. You can't see me doing, but you'll sort of squiggle round, and you'll have a side hustle, and you'll go volunteer there, and you'll do some voluntary work, and so I think it's really important to just immerse yourself and try loads of different things in different places if you can, and from a professional development, personal development
Great advice.
So, I mean, you kind of mentioned there that you love helping people. What would you say is your favourite part of the job?
Oh, I think it's the opportunities that it has opened up to me, and every day is genuinely different. People always say, "Oh, every day is different," but I cannot even say how every day really is different here. We were just laughing before we started recording that we'd had BBC One in the office today to film in our Enterprise Career Zone, which is the first time that's happened. So that's not a daily occurrence. But then, last week on Friday, I was in London at an event that's about our collaboration with Malaysian universities, and I was in Malaysia earlier in the year taking some students on a mobility, which I would never have expected to happen. It was because of funding opportunities and relationships that have been built through the university. We were able to offer our students that, and it's just that every day is different, but the ultimate goal is always to make better experiences for our students continually and maintain the amazing stuff that's happening, and always finding new things that we can open up to our students.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not just local connections, like you're saying about Malaysia. It's not just Ipswich, it's nationwide and international as well.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that we keep building those links. We've got lots of goals that we'd like to reach when it comes to international opportunities in particular, because we know that university students who are fortunate enough to be able to engage in placements, exchanges, whether it's in the same town you study, Ipswich, or wherever you are, or wherever your hometown is, or internationally, or in another location, those opportunities statistically increase your likelihood of being into high quality employment in the future.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, and particularly international opportunities, if you are able to access it, and even if you're not, there's, particularly since COVID happened, there's lots of ways you can engage with international organisations through virtual opportunities, and we've made sure we've built some of that into the support we offer as well. So if you are someone who can't just up and travel to Malaysia for 2 weeks because you've got a job, you've got care and responsibilities, you just perhaps can't do it for multiple reasons, and we've still got access to other platforms where you could go and do perhaps like a week's virtual internship with an organisation based somewhere in Asia or Australia. So you still, even though it's obviously through an online platform, you still get some of that exposure to that international experience and to meet others from around the world.
Makes it accessible.
And that's so important. I think that's one thing I've always say to my team, to make sure if we do one thing for one group, how do you make sure that thing is you can make it equitable to other groups, or if you can't, how do you make sure there's something equivalent to other groups that they can access?
Yeah, fantastic. So it wouldn't be a student experience podcast if we didn't ask you about your university experience here. So what course did you study, and so how did you find your time studying here?
So I did business management.
Did you?
Yeah, so slightly relevant. We always laugh, and I always say, actually, your degree subject you do is probably how much you'll have relevant to that in your future career. Really varies. But I did business management, and I had a really great time. So I was really involved in loads of stuff, student union, did the internships, things like that. And just really got involved because I knew it would be beneficial to my future, wherever it ended up going. And also, I'm just someone who really likes to get involved and know things. Some may call it nosy. I'd say it's inquisitive. But it honestly set me up so well to be able to work in the university. Actually, that I understood committee structures and policies, procedures, and how things work, and it was nice to be able to get involved actually, and learn a different work environment, which obviously ended up working in.
Exactly. And in terms of challenges being a student, probably quite a tough question, but can you think of any challenges you sort of came across? I
think one of the classics was balancing everything. I was fortunate that I lived at home. I didn't have any caring responsibilities. I was a mature student, but I was young, early 20s, and was living with my mum and dad, who would cook my meals and things, would leave me to work until 2 a.m, and I knew that it would be okay, and I didn't have to clean a house or anything like that. But, I was working part-time throughout my whole degree in various roles, and got involved in things, and I'm a massive perfectionist. ask my team or any of my family or friends, they'll know what I'm like. But I had really high standards for myself, and I was determined to leave for the first, and that was the goal I'd set myself.
Oh, wow.
So
ambitious.
it was that kind of. I remember my birthday. My birthday's in May. And it was about 4 days before my dissertation was due. So I spent my birthday sitting at the dining room table, proofreading my dissertation, because I was like, my birthday doesn't count this year. My birthday can happen afterwards.
I don't think many students have been doing that.
No. So yeah, that was, I think we had a Nando's takeaway. I don't know why Nando's. It was in the days where you could get delivery. I don't even know if delivery existed at that point, but it was when you could start getting food delivered. Now it's really normal, isn't it, to us? But in those days, all you could get was a Domino's or, like certain takeaways. You couldn't get chain takeaways. And so we had a Nando's delivered, and I proofread my dissertation. But
you did celebrate your birthday.
I did celebrate it afterwards, that summer, within 2 or 3 months of finishing, I managed to exchange and we bought our first house. So that was a good reward at the end of it.
What a good year.
Yeah. But again, I was fortunate. I'd stayed at home, saved my money really hard, and
that's great.
So could then go and do that. But what a year that was.
Fantastic.
So what would you say was your favourite part about studying?
I think it was probably, looking back on it now, actually, with my older and wiser head on, is that it was that chance to meet loads of people that both, friends from my course, academics, people across the university, externally, the things I got involved with. That chance to meet such a diverse range of individuals and was so nice and refreshing, and people we're still in touch with now, and it's nice to see the things they've gone on to, my peers in my course. I think learning new things as well. Like, I've always loved, again, a bit of one of those people who, again, as I said earlier, loves to know loads of things, but it was nice to have the chance to really delve into a subject area that I'd done obviously prior to that through A-levels and things, but to really get in depth into business management, and it's a massive subject, so obviously there's so much more to do. Yeah. But it was things like strategy and organisational cultures and things. And I'm sure if you're someone who is not interested in that sort of thing, you'll be thinking, that sounds so dry. But as someone, I'm really interested in, people's behaviours and things, and how do organisations work, and why are organisations successful or not? And
of course.
Find that fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so... And I didn't really want to do psychology, so business management's the next best thing.
But there is a lot of psychology in there, isn't there?
Yeah, and actually my master's was in a school of psychology, because it was in career coaching.
Really?
And obviously a lot of that is underpinned by psychological theory and social structures and all that kind of thing. Informs a lot of career theory. Because career is an academics area in itself. Yeah. So if I ever do a PhD, that would be definitely the wacko, but that's
do you ever see yourself doing a PhD?
Maybe one day. Depends how badly I want to be doctor, carpenter, I suppose. But maybe one day. It's
Well, the uni are very open to PhD opportunities, so
it's definitely it's just it's a commitment, isn't it?
It is. Something that I think I potentially would be open to one day, but certainly in the very distant future, I think, for now. So if you were to pick one moment from your time as a university student, maybe let's look at it from more of a student experience point of view, what would you say your proudest moment was?
Oh, thinking back, probably one of them is probably the moment I handed my dissertation in.
Really? Okay.
I remember really, really vividly. In those days, there was a assessment office, and you went and physically walked to basically a bit of a hatch, and you would hand it in. You'd get a receipt. And I don't know, almost, yeah. So it's obviously very different. I think very different here now, especially with online submissions. But in those days, everything was hand printed, and you had to physically hand it in. If you couldn't,
that's a
it's crazy when you think how things have changed, actually. And I remember handing it in, but because I had to go to work, because that was when I was working in insurance by that point, like 2 days a week around my studies.
Sure.
So I had to go and drop it off before work, and so the assessment office hadn't opened. So I had to drop it at reception, And so I remember just thinking, this is my last assignment, and it's just I've handed it over, and that's it. Like, and obviously everyone who works in receptions are always really lovely, and they were like, "Oh, well done." And, and it was just to take that receipt away and think,
absolutely,
that's it. Like, I walk out of this building. When am I going to next walk back in? Actually, it ended up.
I'm
here loads, but I think that was probably one of them. And
fantastic.
I got an award for best dissertation as well. So
there you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about as a staff member as well? What did you say is the proudest moment? I know you won an award quite recently, didn't you?
I did. I have to mention that. Okay, we'll mention that. As you've said it, I always like feel a little bit like,
no, you got to mention.
A bit embarrassed. So I won the award. So the university launched relaunched their staff awards after pandemic to when we were doing more face-to-face events. So we have it in the marquee that's used for graduation. So graduation happens like for the week, and then the Friday they have the staff awards in there, and they flip it round into a really nice venue. And this year it was funny. There were being nominations out, and someone else. There was two people who won this award. It was the outstanding contribution to learning, and someone else won one. And then they started reading the next one out, and they were like, and they've turned something about the career support here with a structure of employability and careers consultants and placement consultants. And we were like, that sounds like maybe that might be. Is that us as a team? And then they were like, and Amy has won, and I was like,
wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was a real massive.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and I just literally last week got a notification I just won a grant of like £30,000 to take more students to Malaysia.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so obviously not all the money goes to the students, it supports the whole project.
Of course.
But that was the first ever grant application I'd put in to that scale, and it's with the British Council, so they're a massive organisation. And there's only like, I think 6 universities in the country who got money from that.
Really?
And it's decided by the British Council in Malaysia, and it's in partnership with a university in Malaysia as well. So so that's really exciting. That I'd put a lot of work into that.
Oh, 2 very big moments.
So the last 6 months in particular, or the last 3 or 4 months have been a bit, have been a lot, but been really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing.
So I guess, looking back at your time at the UU now, is there anything you would do differently if you were to do it again?
Oh, that's a question.
Isn't it? Do you know, I lived at home, and I still regret sometimes not living in halls, even just for a little bit.
Oh, really?
I think I would have liked to have lived in halls for a period of time, just because, why not?
Experience,
I probably wouldn't have necessarily enjoyed it. But I don't know, I might have loved it. I really love my own space, but probably that. Although I've lived with my husband obviously for a number of years now, so it's fine. I can live with other people, but possibly that, I think. And also, I always would love to have done actually some sort of exchange abroad.
Okay.
Particularly Erasmus was available then. Obviously, we can't use Erasmus since Brexit, which is a real shame. But when I was a student, Erasmus was very much a thing, and I did an Erasmus as a staff member. And went to Slovenia to visit the university there. I went to Poland as well as a team, but as a student, I always think now I've had the confidence to go and do these things, and obviously with Malaysia and that this year, I think I wish I'd had the confidence as a student to pursue that as a student and really immerse myself in it. So I think, and I would say to anybody, if you can, I would honestly find a way to do it, because it's just
absolutely
the international trips I've since had as a staff member have just changed my perspective and opened me up to meeting so many people, and food. Honestly, food is a massive deal, and just being exposed to those different cultural experiences, and people are so welcoming around the world. They just want to show you and help you and to understand their culture and get to know, and it's just so nice. So
I think that's something I wish I'd have done, to be honest, as well. I've never left the country, so I really want to one day. So maybe I'll take your advice.
Maybe that's part of your job.
Maybe.
If we can find a way to get you honestly, I'll definitely help you with that. It's and there's so much. I think even if you can't travel abroad, it's finding ways to just travel within the UK. I think the UK, we're so lucky in this country to have so much on our doorsteps within reason.
Absolutely.
You know, London really is an hour on the train.
Yeah.
It's so accessible.
Very close.
Even quicker to drive on a good day.
Yeah.
And then just the history, and even just Ipswich. But I just think, you know, whatever way you can, if you've got an opportunity to just step outside of your comfort zone and do something that's not in the University of Suffolk,
exactly.
or is not in Ipswich,
yeah.
or wherever your hometown is, you know, if you're a University of Suffolk student, but home is wherever else in the UK, international, find a way to do something that is not in Ipswich or not in your home location. Do something somewhere, if you can. And if you can't,
that's really good advice.
Again, talk to us, because I'm sure we could find a way for you to do something virtually that gets you to meet and connect with these people.
It's so easy just to be in that comfort zone. Like I was the same. I lived at home when I was studying, and I think I kind of wish maybe I went into halls or something, because you just get in that comfort zone. You go to uni, you come back. Whereas you know, I guess we'd all encourage students to push themselves, go out of their comfort zone, go to the careers hub, and you know, say what opportunities have you got for me, and go from there.
And talk to yourselves as well, and the Students' Union. I think this year there's so many events on for students here, more than ever, from Student Experience team, from the Students' Union, from my team, from other teams like Student Life and academics as well. And I just think there's so much on in this university nowadays. It's so easy to go to something and meet people.
Absolutely.
And even if you think, I don't know whether am I right to be here? I'm only a student. Don't say that to yourself, because honestly, it's like in the atrium building. My colleagues in the business development team. Now, if you're a student, you might never come across those people, because they're there to build relationships and collaborations with business and create income streams. But we host so many events in that building. For all different things, so it's definitely worth looking at those, like the university's social media accounts and the business social media accounts, because the events that happen, you know, we host events for like people who are starting businesses. There's one coming up for creatives, so if you you know, whether or not you're an art student or you're just interested in creative industries, what an amazing opportunity to go and meet loads of people from the local area and beyond, potentially, who work in the creative sector. And they'll love to talk to you, honestly. Like, don't just be like, oh, just a student. Honestly, people really want to meet our students. That's why the events are here, because people really want to engage with the university. So
absolutely,
I mean, it doesn't even have to link to your course necessarily.
No.
You know, it's transferable skills.
Exactly. Yeah, and I always say, like, the classic is you're a health student, you know you want to be a nurse, say, you're doing a nursing degree, and you are absolutely 100%, you know when you graduate you want to be a nurse. But in your spare time, you might be a fantastic artist, or really great baker, or crafter, or I don't know, a streamer. I'm trying to think of other things that or you know, or you've got some sort of, like, I sell things on Vinted, so that's always my little side hustle. What can I sell on Vinted?
Is so good, isn't it?
And do you know what I mean? Or people have all these random talents and income streams, and people don't think about it. And whatever that thing is, you know, you're going to be a nurse, but whilst you're here, you go and get involved in some other stuff. And if it helps you meet people, helps you with some professional development, create some income. You know, as long as it doesn't impact your studies, and obviously to make sure to keep it balanced, so you've got time for your studies, any life responsibilities as well. But you're in the perfect place in universities to just try and dabble in a few things, I think.
So what advice would you give to students maybe considering joining the uni or university generally?
I think the University of Suffolk is really exciting because we're still young, and there's so much enthusiasm and so many opportunities and things you can get involved with. And as a student, you've also got opportunities to get involved in shaping new things. You know, you could go and set up a new society. It's really easy to start a society here in the Students' Union now. I think it's like 3 people, isn't it? Or, you know, the facilities are growing and things like that. And I just think there's something so exciting about coming somewhere and you can be part of being involved in that, building that, and making it right for people like you, and making sure that to get involved and meet new people. And you know, our students, it's a really interesting student community now. It's getting more and more diverse, and international students joining us, and you just never know who you're going to meet, which I think is so exciting. And you know, Ipswich is a smaller town, but which makes it really nice because everything's accessible. You haven't got to spend loads of money on transport to get to Tesco's and things. There is a Tesco's if you live in Athena or whatever it's called now. There's a Tesco Express right across the road. There's a Sainsbury's in town. There's an Aldi up the hill if you fancy a walk up the hill or a quick bus journey. And it's just, it's accessible. You can go and get to the big cities. You can get to the airports.
Absolutely. Yeah, know your area, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there's amazing sports teams here, obviously, as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing very well.
Doing amazing. The Speedway team did really well this year. If you're into sports, there's a dry ski slope if you're into extreme sports. There's a skate park just across, not that far from the uni, actually. So whatever your interests are, there's all those sorts of things. There's an amazing growing community of music venues here as well, and it's at various sizes as well, which is really exciting, and theatre in that. So if you hate sports, there's also
something for you.
If you hate both, there'll be something else. There'll always be something.
Okay, so we'll come now to the final question, which is what we call the answer one, ask one, where we'll ask you a question that's been put forward by previous guests, and then you'll put one to the next guest. So the question that previous guest, Luke, put forward is, if you were to do a different course at university from what you did then, what would you do?
Oh, that's a tough one. Does
psychology come to mind?
Yeah, I wonder if I would maybe do something like psychology-based course. I'm not very creative, so I would be wasted in an arts-based course. I don't mind tech, but it doesn't inspire me as much as I would like it to.
Fair enough.
So I think, probably like a psychology course, or maybe I'd go really out there and do some sort of health course. But I'm not very good with dealing with. I'm not a first aider, put it that way. I could be a first aider, but I choose not to be because I'm not very good. So probably psychology. I would think something like that.
Fantastic.
That's great. So thanks again, Amy, for joining us.
You.
Really enjoyed that chat. So until next episode, it's goodbye from Amy.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Brandon.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Student Experience podcast. If you would like to be a future guest, email studentexperiencesteam@uos.ac.uk or follow the links to our podcast application form through our Brightspace page. You can also reach out to us through our Instagram page, UOS_student experience.